Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Urban Legend of the Week video. Well, I thought I would kick off a whole new series of urban legends, this one though based on one of your past suggestions, one of the newer ones in fact, as a way to go ahead and start focusing on this series again. Can you believe it's been 5 months since the last go around with regards to these videos? 5 whole months, probably almost close to 6 months now, give or take a couple of weeks. But yes, indeed, I'm ready to go back into these. Looking forward to your new suggestions. This one, I debated about adding it either here or on the ghost and spirit side, only because it does seem in a lot of cases to be a ghost. But the reason why I included it here was the fact that we're dealing with someone no one knows about. This is an entity, a ghost, or something that's there that is at a location that no one knows its history, no one knows how it's got there. There's only the usual telltale stories, and I use that in quotation, that seem to have come about throughout who knows how many decades. That's why I considered it more of an urban legend, because somewhere along the way somebody must have created a story tied to it, and then it just grew from there. So much so that now it's just pretty much part of the lore, I guess the actual mythology of this location. That's why I wanted to go ahead and include it here, mainly because it fits so many categories of that on an urban legend side. And it has to do with this. It's a very interesting haunt, or a very interesting ghost that populates this location. It's known as the Purple Lady of Rio Grande Station. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the interesting information associated with this urban legend, and then also with this ghost that haunts that location. So those of you that happen to be in the Denver area, my apologies, not the Denver area, actually the Salt Lake City area, you're in luck, because there you'll have this building, which you're looking at now, to be the place, the actual location of this ghost. So it's very interesting. I love it whenever it's one of those things where you come across this building so many times in your life. I'm sure those of you that live there in Salt Lake City probably have passed this by so many times, going to work, going to school, going wherever, and now you'll know the history of this place and then the haunting or the urban legend associated with it. This place is unofficially called the Rio Grande Depot, but it has a much longer name. It's also known as the Denver and Rio Grande Western Depot. This was something that was built a little while back, in fact 1910 to be specific. This was built as a location for railroads. I mean, in its heyday it pretty much had one of the largest railroad locations there within that state. And on the inside, I mean, it was perfectly just built for it. There were high arching windows. There was this green glass that will always seem to be around a waiting area as well. There was also a barber shop, a restaurant, a smoking room back then too, which were quite common, and also some kind of women's lounge as well. It was everything that was just perfect for taking the train to and from certain locations. I don't know how exactly Department of Heritage and Arts, and then also apparently a Rio gallery is also located there. So it sounds like it's more along the lines of a lot of administrative departments or administrative offices are located there now. But the people that that work in that place apparently encounter people that used to live in that area, ghosts if you will. There's no less than 7 of them that have been reported within that area. But the one we're going to talk about is this one, the lady known as the Purple Lady of that Rio Grande Station. Now here's the urban legend associated with her existence. Like, this is all everyone knows. And that's why, again, it falls more along the urban legend side, because it just totally encapsulates just the idea that there's this mystery woman under a tragic circumstance that led to all of this happening. So the way the story goes is, at one point during the existence of this train station, no doubt it was probably during the earlier days, considering her first known sighting afterward, or haunting, but at some point between its creation up until later on, there was a couple that visited that location. This couple were young. I guess they were fiancés. They were going to get married, but from what people saw, they had an argument there while on the platform of that train station. So there they were, just arguing with each other. Probably nobody was really paying attention too much until the next thing happened. Either the woman herself or the fiance, the ring that belonged to her was thrown onto the bottom of the tracks. So no one knows again if this was either the woman or the man doing this. And so, of course, with her being distraught, with her being in a very depressed state afterwards, she didn't know what she was doing. She actually went down straight onto the tracks to try to get the ring. It must have been just an instinct at that point, something where she wasn't even thinking about her surroundings, because what happened next is truly the most tragic parts. No sooner did she get down into the tracks than either A, a train actually hit and killed her instantly, or B, she was there, trying to find it, probably realizing, she's in danger, but she didn't care. She was definitely trying to keep that relationship going, or try to do something to keep and find that ring so that way she can keep her fiance. Either way, though, she decided to test out her fate, and she lost. This train hit her, and then of course killed her thereafter. No word yet, though, about who this woman was. No newspapers seem to cite this experience. There's nothing in terms of, let's say, like a police report that I could find associated with this. Nothing like that. It just seems like this is just a story that just was created somewhere in time, and it just continues to this day. But yes, that's at least the info tied to this urban legend. Now, however long ago that was, again, sometime after the creation of the train station, cut to 1947, and this was the very first time someone saw this woman, this so-called purple lady, there at the Rio Grande station. In 1947, there was another female passenger, a train passenger. This one, no one knows who she was. She decided to go use the restroom while she was waiting for another train to arrive. And when she went to that restroom, she saw what she described as a woman wearing a purple dress and a very large purple hat, although none of it seemed to match the current theme or the current clothing that everyone was wearing. It instantly stood out. This was definitely some kind of wardrobe that somebody was wearing from who knows how far back. And that, in essence, was the very first sighting of the so-called purple lady. Hence, you know why it's called the purple lady, because it seems like when she had that tragic encounter there on the railroad tracks, that what she was wearing essentially was, or what she wore afterward in the afterlife. It reminds me of that meme, that funny meme that I saw one time online, where it says, "Be careful what you dress for every day, because if you were to instantly die and come back as a ghost, that's essentially what you would be wearing afterward." But the encounter, that single encounter, just didn't stop there. It just seemed to be going afterward, and continuously numerous encounters happened afterward. I don't know why exactly it all started in 1947. Maybe it was part of an anniversary date. Maybe that was like the first year afterward where the tragic encounter occurred. Who knows? But that's at least the first instance. But again, afterward, there have been numerous encounters. Most people, though, that encounter this purple lady happen to be the employees around that Rio Grande station. So the employees there of those administrative buildings, like I was mentioning earlier, but more predominantly, those are the employees of a restaurant that you're looking at here. I believe it's called the Cafe 5 to 2, if I'm not mistaken. I need to look up the info one more time, but yes, I believe that's what it's called, or maybe called the Rio Grande Cafe, because I thought I saw a different name within another place. Remember, this is a location that has been around for a long time, the station itself, so it might have gone through several names. But either way, the employees there, they're the ones that seem to encounter this lady the most. They hear her more often than seeing her. There's this telltale sign when you're near this purple lady there in that Grand Station, in that Rio Grande Station. You can hear her. So whoever she was, apparently she loved having, in this case, the ability to sing while she was living. And so afterward, in this afterlife, she continues to this day. People also hear footsteps when they're around the station, when everything is closed, and clearly nobody should be there. And so everyone that happens to hear those footsteps, they know that it's her presence as well. Same thing with the restaurant that's there. That's where they also hear that stuff too. But if you wanted to pinpoint one location, absolutely one location where you could have the best chance of encountering her. So those of you there in Salt Lake City, if you want to be going on a little mini ghost time, you can do this. Go to the restaurant there, that Rio Grande Cafe restaurant, and when you go there, again, go to a restroom. Apparently there, in that restroom, that's where most of these sightings occur. That's where you hear her, that's where you see her. You also see lights turning on and off. Some of the doors within the restrooms slam shut, also within the actual restaurant as well. And then also the faucets, they seem to turn on and off too, making her presence known. Again, nobody should be there if you're by yourself, but there you are encountering this stuff as well. And then the employees there again also report this happening throughout the rest of the restaurant. There's even a bottom portion, a basement, where a lot of people are not happy to go down there because it seems like the purple lady gets a little bit angrier down there. That's where they've seen things like move about, like if you will, like they almost seem to have like a teleportation happen where they thought they're putting someplace, but instead it's another place, making her presence known quite clearly. And then another way is they actually lock people, like doors are locking themselves behind people, and they're not able to come out afterward. One even encounter that seemed scary to me, at least, was those faucets again. One of the restaurant personnel there stated that they encountered where all of a sudden all the faucets within the entire restaurant turned on. They were full force, in fact, like that nothing was stopping them. Even when you tried to push the lever down or push the lever back up to try to make something work, no, it did not. It just kept going thereafter. Can you imagine how kind of freaky that is when you see that happening at the time when you know it shouldn't? And so some of the employees ran out to try to see if they could get some help, but then that's when it turned off afterward. And then some people that have investigated that location, they seem to state that this purple lady is angry or unhappy, I guess, with what things are going on in that location. It may be this. It's again, it used to be a place involving lots of trains. Maybe she was a big fan of the trains, even though ironically, one ended up causing the death of her. But maybe afterward, when the train stopped running, when the very last track was removed, all of the tracks were removed, by the way, so that shows how completely this station was turned around. Well, that seemed to have not made things happy with her, and so she seems to just showcase some of this anger every now and then within the restaurant, within the station itself, and then most in particular within the basement, and then also the restroom too. But yes, indeed, that's pretty much all the info associated with this so-called purple lady there in the Rio Grande station. Nothing really bad seems to be known about her. Nothing really like in terms of like this urban legend where it's kind of like stay away, don't ever go there. Nothing like the Goat Man urban legend at the Goat Man Bridge. Instead, though, the general consensus is that this is something where she causes like an unnerving, like people feel unnerved being around her, so much so that even the security guards late at night stay away from certain locations, including the basement itself. So it seems like again she's there, People are dealing with it. They're not really too happy. She's not too happy with them. But at the same time, they're just leaving things be. It's almost like a stalemate right now at this moment. So, but if you wanted to go ahead and test it out, if you wanted to go see this so-called purple lady, then you can go do so. I imagine during open hours too, you can probably visit that location and then walk about, see some history, some really nice history at least with that train station, but then also try to encounter her within the restroom of that restaurant. So another good opportunity, especially see they seem to be open to it too, because I was reading that there have been several paranormal investigations there as well. So that would be a place for those of you that are in those kind of groups to go visit as well. So, but that's it. If anyone has any more info associated with this urban legend, particularly who this woman was, where did she come from, what was her name, why did this happen when it came to the tragedy? Was it herself jumping down onto the train station? Was it her husband or fiance, soon to be husband, I'm sorry, or fiance, doing this in terms of throwing the ring down there? No one knows. It's all just lost in history, if there even was one. But what is there is at least the sightings of this purple lady. So, alright everybody, thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.